those are two new ones, kind of hot off the press, and the first one was called Cadences of Closeness, and the second one was called This Is What Happiness Looks Like. I'll read a couple from this book, Homing, which is still fairly hot off the press, still quite warm, and this was a book about, kind of learning how to get better and learning how to deal with things that you've not been dealing with very well previously, perhaps. And it's not about me, it's about events and how to manage them and how to keep going forward, I think. So it's not for me to say what it's about. This is a poem from that book, and it's called Love That One Whose Name You Know. It's a kind of homing. Somebody said to me earlier on, was it homing? And yeah, it was. I was unwell and I was in hospital, and I was kind of had that kind of locked-in syndrome where you can't talk and I couldn't write, and I was kind of when I began to be able to do both of those things again, I kind of started writing poems as therapy, and this was where this began. And my father and his brothers used to keep pigeons, homing pigeons, and my father was always kind of fascinated by this, and he used to try and kind of confuse them. Like he'd drive miles away and leave them somewhere, and they'd always come home, and he was kind of completely bewildered by this, and in some ways, mesmerised by it. And it's just one of the memories that I had that came back to me. I kind of lost a lot of my memories, and it's one of the ones that came back. And there were some cats. The cats on our farm had kittens, and there were too many, and you had to take some and throw them in the river in a sack, But my father was a gentleman, and he wouldn't do this, and he drove them miles and miles away in his car, and he let them out of the car, and about 3 days later they turned up again at home. So this idea of homing, and it became to me kind of important about finding yourself again, and this idea that there's somewhere that you want to be and you want to get back there, and for me that place was happiness or love. So yeah. This one's called Love That One Whose Name You Know. Love that one whose name you know will be the wind-sung word that wakes you. Cicada or birdsong, barking hound, they call that name, and when you hear it, you will rise reborn and go. Love that one whose mind you know before you have to delve or dither in the dusk lands low, whose eyes and lips remain there as the night and day remain to reinvent the glow. Love that one who lets you go beyond the snow of happenstance or skin, beyond the glow of honeyed moons, as far as unmapped regions blazing suns can show. Love that one who lets your spirit grow toward a better version of the life you pause to know because it seemed the best, brimful of ease, fast surety in flow, atop uncertain streams, before the place you never thought to go. Love that one whose name you do not know how to forget, in waking or in sleeping. Slow the fast time down and go to find that one below the surface of your ken, above the winds of days that rush and blow. Love that one whose ways you know are something you can never fully know, and you grow never tired of never knowing wholly, never seek to capture. So just love that one, because you never know. Thank you. And this is the title poem of this book, Homing. So the more alert among you will realise it's called Homing. It's a poem about being alive as much as it's a poem about not being alive, I think. And the word ghost in the fourth stanza is a verb, not a noun. In wintry hush I hear her call my name from some place nice and new. I do not dwell on where, or dwell at all, for places do not save me, people do. The long road back to hope lurks lined with magic mirrors, fibbing still of futures free, of fate unkind. But mirrors will not mend me, people will. My truth will come and find me old, remind me how I once began. Let winters wane beside my soul, for winters cannot warm me, people can. And everywhere I see her ghost, that young girl's coat, a roadside bar, a Spanish film, peach jam on toast. For places are not haunted, people are. Okay, so this book is called Homing. It's about getting back to a good place, and I think maybe speak too soon, but I think I got there. I think I achieved that. I think I kind of got there, and I suppose what I want to do is now work out how to stay there, and also to think about what made it possible to get there. So the next poem, the next set of poems I've been working on are kind of, it's called Climbable. It's kind of it's kind of a poem. So don't mistake my arrogance, my nervousness for arrogance. I'm really sorry. It's the story of my life, or one of them. I'm just nervous. Forgive me. Urns and bards and birds and stars, witnessed ends as presage, portent, instant image, symbol and scenario of Damoclean death, till life's assorted sorrows seen reside in us like ribos, cassonade to calm and numb the nervous nucleus, survive in us serena now, less vile, less vexed, less violent. Inside my buckled blue cocoon, mind pauses, like an exile strayed a line too far. Behooves me break and re-embark, roam back to where the binding beauties are. Violet snowbell, soldanella, lath and plaster, beam and rafter, airy archipelago of love's disarming arabesque. The dendrite that decrees itself a foliage alive. Embers to ashes to cindersoot fire, windowless walls and the language of flowers. This wild white-fringed orchid, this palest egret, low and wistfully whispers, my soul will search down death and dreams for you. Dead sheep dress the downstream deluge, candid crumbling carcasses, caressed by clement weather, clearer water. Halt and ask, what is their story? What is yours and what is mine? Tedious tutorials in terror, taught by time until we hear the tambourine above the tumult, though this useless universe is upside down, and life needs neither petrol nor champagne, till something looms and locksmith love unpicks a padlocked heart and lets you in. Like nature you come flying, fixing fractured fallen flowers. Like windsong you come whooshing, waking warm propitious powers. Like sunrise you come shining, blessing storm-bent broken bowers. Like daybreak you come dashing, fetching hopeful, honest hours. So everything is opened. We can wander wide and far, but best to linger longest where the binding beauties are. This airy archipelago of love's disarming arabesque. My solitary zinnia bloom bring butterfly and breeze. Life's less than sessile silver groves, their bosky beauty, lined with unseen aging in the rings inside the trees. And this is truth that hauls me all but heavenward. Sectilic with epiphanies, these signs sublime commune and shine. Each elevates my tiptoed soul to sneak a peek anew like hungry hovering hummingbirds, up peeping through the darkling to the sparkling, to invert the lethal lysis, rouse the oxidizing part, and renovate this ransacked room, this raped and run-down aging heart. For everything has opened, we are wandering wide and far, and best to linger longer where the binding beauties are. O fulgent sun, come fierce and bright, it's thawing out the arginite, it's turning darkness into light, translating blindness into sight, transmuting silence into something right, it's setting ashen cinder soot alight, it's silvering the edges of our clouds, could make of me a convert, a disciple, a believer, and it has. The hardest cross of steel and stone become the gentle cross of trust and tears. The leaden bells become the silver bells that tell you what to know and how to know. So offer your good ears to the mantic mouth of morning, the romantic mouth of morning. Hear the madrigals, the melodies, the harmonies, the symphonies, and know that you are not alone. Your angel is the orchid, Péligret. Her soul will search down death and dreams for you. And know this news is meekly meant, and hear this hymn so shyly sent. You rise in skies to reinvent, to slowly soar, to glide content, to softly skirt through firmament, glissade to scent, your joy unspent, to smoothly steer, commence descent, to pilot true, dive understanding, this cleared approach unturbulent, and love will be the landing. And finally the sheerest chines come climbable. Each quest creates a colophon to tell a troubled toiler later how and why and where we had to travel after all. To prove this pass is passable, this peak a place of possibles and peace, this mountain more than mountable, this hill-rise hewn of hope and love that cannot, will not cease. To sign the sky, to indicate the winding waking way, as spring's right songbirds sing and serenade and send again, a healing song, a yawning, dawning day.